I feel as if I'm in the flow of financial abundance. I feel as if I know that it's assured and I don't feel a lack from it.
Good. If you could leave it right there, everything would go really well for you.
Well, and in a sense I know that, but I've got this wonderful vibrational reality going on, and I've got this abundance coming in which feels great.
Good. And if you could leave it there, everything would go really, really well for you. But you're going to construct some thought, aren't you? You're going to mess up the frequencies with explanation.
Okay.
Well, it's tempting, isn't it? In other words, it seems like I should incessantly explain where I am in relationship to where I want to be. But the problem with that is I keep making vibrational roadways that keep leading to where I don't want to be. So if I could just resist the temptation of defining and explaining and asking and asking and asking and asking and asking and asking, then do you believe that you've lived enough life to know what you want?
Yes, for now. I know it keeps expanding.
Do you believe that there is more in your vortex than you have allowed to manifest?
Yes.
Do you believe that there is a path to that abundance?
Yes.
Do you believe that the path to that abundance is by defining where you are, or do you think there's a different path? To put it simply, I'm here and I want to go over there. Is it a straighter path to go over there or to talk about being over here?
To go over there.
So talk about going over there.
So if I think about going over there, I have,
don't make it a if I think about it, do it. Think about going over there. And don't make it something that's theoretical, make it something that's practical. Take your thoughts and your words right now and go over there.
To what I have in my vibrational reality?
Yeah, that's what's over there.
Yes, so feeling.
Because over here isn't getting it for you. And over there is where you want to be. So. Yes. Yes. So
so feeling, it feels good to feel the abundance that is over there, like the freedom that comes with reaching for more and achieving more.
All right, now what you just did when you talked about freedom is you went back over here and felt bondage.
Okay.
It's a little tricky, isn't it? You meant to go over there, you just didn't go. So try again.
It feels good to know that I can, that it feels good to think these thoughts that are what I want to achieve, like these feelings of
you see, by thinking about going over there, that makes you aware of where you are. In other words, and it makes going over there like a future experience. So a better way for us to put it would be over there. Be over there. And then you say, but I'm not over there. And we say, but vibrationally speaking, you already be over there. So as you be over there, what's it like to be over there?
Well, it feels good. It feels good.
So why does it feel to you like we need to have more discussion? Why can't it feeling good be enough? And it's because they're just words. You're just doing lip service. But if you could feel it, and so make that effort. Be over there. Feel what abundance is. Transport yourself there, because you don't need the manifestation. Transport yourself there. It shouldn't be hard because the larger part of you is already there. And feel freedom and abundance. Try to do that.
Okay. I guess, and I know this is going back again, but I guess I was thinking that I needed to change or wanted to change my point of attraction. I felt like I had this set point going on. and I wanted
Well,
to change.
That is what we're talking about. But
Okay.
you see, the thing that is most important to understand is that in your vortex is a set point, and in your habit of thought is a set point. In other words, and so we're just wanting you to gravitate toward what your inner being knows about all of that. But in order to do that, you have to find a different approach to it. And we're just sort of throwing you to the wolves a little bit because we know that you can get there, because we know the larger part of you is already there.
Yes.
So we want you to, as best you can, with as much fun as you can, demonstrate being there.
Okay.
And we know that where you are is playing a factor in your excursion from here to over there, but it does not have to. What can you imagine? What do you imagine that financial freedom feels like? What do you imagine that feels like?
Unlimited in the potential of what I can do with my time and my life. And
now, unlimited was a good word. Potential of what I can do nailed your foot to the floor, and time nailed your foot to the floor again. In other words, when you're talking about unlimited, that's a free-flowing feeling until it made you feel limited in time and limited in what you can do. You see what we're getting at? So go after it again. Unlimited. What does unlimited feel like?
Like you've got the world at your fingertips and you're on top of the world, and abundance is eternal, and all things are abundant and eternal.
How so?
In that there's unlimited resources and...
Now you're right there, aren't you? In other words, you're right there.
Good.
You can feel it in her demeanor. You can see it on her face. In other words, you're right there. In other words, you found an unlimited, eternal, abundant feeling. Now just settle in with it. Just settle in with it a little bit. It makes where you, for a moment, where you are financially is completely irrelevant, isn't it?
Yes.
Because you've tapped into a feeling of abundance and you've accepted that it is unlimited. And right now you feel capable of doing anything. You feel worthy of it coming to you. In other words, you made that shift just with that little bit of sticking with it and that little bit of being willing to let loose. You broke the normal patterns of thought and just jumped right there into that feeling. And that's enough work for this moment. In other words, because to try to milk it further often makes you get specific to the point that you step backwards from it. But that was a pretty easy thing for you to do, which means you were already pretty close to it. Now, what about just using no words at all, just sitting in a feeling of abundance? In other words, what does it feel like? Does it feel to you that in this moment in time that you need to do something in order to justify your existence? No. We'll ask all of you. Do you need to do something to justify your existence? And if you don't do it, will you cease to exist in this moment? You have a lot of leeway, don't you? So you could just sit there and exist with no justification at all, couldn't you? You could just sit there and be. And as you sit there and be, as you sit there with no justification, just can you tap in just a little bit to the resources that are supporting you? Did any of you make a list of bodily functions that needed to be performed while you were sleeping last night? Did any of you assign to your cabin partner, make sure my heart pumps all night long? Or are there just natural resources that are already taking place? Isn't there just a huge amount of well-being going on? Were you with the captain of the ship guiding it through the fog in the night? Or did you trust with some reasonable trust that they know what they're doing as they're navigating this planet? You're out in the middle of nowhere. Did you know it? In other words, and were you fretting about it, or were you just that one? Or were you lying in your bed and just feeling the well-being of it? Were any of you concerned about the spinning of your planet in its orbit? Did any of you wake up and make a note? Need to find out who's on that. Need to find out who's on that and make sure they're really on that. Because if they don't stay on that, there would be a lot of consequences. And since I don't know who it is that's on that, somebody should figure, you don't do that, do you? In other words, there's just a huge amount of stability and well-being and abundance and eternalness that you just naturally accept. And those are the things that you want to just find ways of getting there, and then just sitting there with a great big grin on your face as you acknowledge this well-being that exists. And if you could start, in other words, we deconstructed a lot of thought there and went just right back to basics, but if you could start there and stay there for just a little bit, it's all that you would need in order for you to make manifested claim of everything that you put into your vortex. Okay. In other words, because the same energy and the same source and the same laws that keep your earth spinning in its orbit are the same ones that are tending to your vortex. And in the same way that you don't justify the rightness of all of that, you don't have to justify the rightness of the path that's going to unfold for you in order to yield to you what you want. In other words, we want you to accept the sureness, the certainty of your vortex manifesting in fullness to you in the same way that you accept the certainty that the sun's going to come up in the morning. It's exactly the same. You can rest assured that it is the same. Unless you hold yourself in thoughts that break the thought waves and make law of attraction have to go the long, hard way around it in order to yield to you what you want. Jerry and Esther took a tour on one of the wonderful port stops the other day, and it took over 2 hours to get to where they were going. And it was really fun, meandering through the beautiful countryside and hearing all of the stories about what was there and who was there. It was great fun. But when they came back, it only took 20 minutes. Right. It seemed really strange to not go the long way back, the way they'd gone the long way out. And we think that a lot of you just get so used to going the long way that whether you're having a good time or not, you go the long way, and you don't have to. You can take shortcuts right to all kinds of abundance and satisfying moments if you could just capture the essence or the feeling of what satisfaction feels like. You don't have to explain to the universe, okay, I worked really hard and now I'm satisfied. Just be satisfied, and the universe will yield to you all things that match that, you see.
Beautiful, perfect.